It's not how you fall, it's how you get back up. And what don't kill us make us stronger, boy. Bet that up. Take a swing at us, you better hit hard. Cause when we swing back, it's like, oh God. It's time to knuckle up and fight hard. Now let's all buckle up and fight hard. Que Dios bendiga a todas tus familias, mi amigo. Se parta mandito, vamos a darle duro esta vida. Say it with me. I believe. Say it with me. I believe that. Say it with me. I believe that we will win. Say it. I believe that we will say it. I believe that we will say it. I believe that we will win. I believe that we will say it. I believe that we will say it. We can lose the battle, but we gon' win the war. I'm from the bottom, I'm that uncut, real raw. When things get tough, that's when we show up. That's when we show out. That's when we show yo. It's time to knuckle up and fight hard. Now let's all buckle up and fight hard. Que Dios bendiga a todas tus familias, mi amigo. Se parta mandito, vamos a darle duro esta vida. Say it with me. I believe. Say it with me. I believe that. Say it with me. I believe that we will win. Say it. I believe that we will 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 say it. Bottom line, no matter what, face everything and rise.
All right, Shay, over to you.
Right on. That was so amazing. I actually knew so many of those organizers and those leaders, so it was really great to see some people that I've been on the line with and stood out and fought with Unite Here for many years. I am Shay Franco Clausen. My pronouns are she, her, ella, queen. I am the political director for Equality California, and I saw that Tom Timprano, he is the managing director of External Affairs, is joining me. We're really excited to be here as Equality California is one of the largest LGBT civil rights organizations with a huge base here in California, and we have Silver State Equality in Nevada. So we got a lot of work to do. And the reason we're here tonight is because as we are so excited about this upcoming election, the energy is so high. We also have to talk about flipping those seats from red to blue in order for us to get some work done after November. We have some amazing priority candidates in California, like Will Rollins, that's in the Coachella Valley, with Christy Holstead and Lisa Middleton, who are a priority. We have Sade, Michelle, Sasha in the LA area, and so many down ballot candidates, especially focusing on school boards in Temecula, Orange, Sunol, and many other places. We're fighting Moms for Liberty to protect the rights of LGBT community across the state, starting with our educational system. But I know the reason we're all here tonight, and it's so important, because while we are here nestled in California and we're fighting a lot of good fights and we have a lot of things to do here, our neighboring states, Nevada and Arizona, actually really need for us to be deployed out to show up and knock doors. Those are two very important key swing states that's closest to us here, and we're honored. Equality California is honored to be here tonight with our amazing partners at Unite Here, the love of my life, Victory Fund. I see you, Mayork Parker, and so many of you in the room. So thank you so much for having us, and then I will pass it on to Cleve.
Hey everybody, Cleve Jones. I'm up in Guerneville, north of San Francisco. I've been working with Unite Here for almost 20 years now. And I've seen firsthand the power we've been able to build in the states of Arizona and Nevada in particular. We are probably the largest political organization in the state of Nevada, and we're doing our best every day to change Arizona from red to blue. Both of these states are critical. You're going to hear more about that from Mario. But I want to say that this is just the beginning. We have a very short window of opportunity to recruit more people. I'm in the Bay Area, so those of us who are Bay Area based, it is not difficult to get your butt to Reno. So all of you who are on this call from the Bay Area, let's work together to recruit people and get them to Reno. Those of you in Southern California, it's not that hard to get your butt to Arizona. We need to do it. And what I can also say is that it's a good experience. And I have done the canvassing in Washoe County, Reno, Sparks before, and it's good for those of us who live in our progressive bubbles to get out of those bubbles and to make eye contact, face-to-face communication with the people who hold the fate of the country in their hands. And the person who's running our operation is Mario Yedidia, and take it away, Mario.
Oh, Cleve, thanks so much. Good evening, sisters, brothers, siblings. My name is Mario. Hi from Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm the National Elections Director for Unite Here, the Hospitality Worker Union. We have 275,000 members in the US and Canada. We work in hotels, casinos, and corporate food service establishments like stadiums and airports and big cafeterias. You might have seen that 10,000 of our members were on strike over the Labor Day weekend at 25 different hotels around the country. That labor struggle for a new contract with Hyatt, Hilton, and Marriott is ongoing. And we're here, of course, because as we saw in that, hopefully inspiring or exciting or enthusiastic video, we are all here because we need to defeat Trump. And we need to build our movement for social justice. Unite Here has developed the ability to really run effective door-to-door disciplined field operations in critical elections. Tonight, we're here to talk about getting everyone on this call involved in Arizona and Nevada. Our canvassers are our members. They're housekeepers, dishwashers, cooks, and bartenders who have experience and capacity doing door-to-door, face-to-face conversations, which on top of paid media like television commercials and direct mail, the kind of political activities that make the consulting class quite wealthy. We know that, in fact, door-to-door conversations with real-life voters are the things that in close elections will decide them. And the past few cycles, we've run the largest labor canvassing operation in the country, the biggest canvassing operation bar none in Nevada and Arizona. And we know that, look, the hospitality workers can't do it together. We cannot build our movement for social justice. We cannot defeat Trump without working together. And that's why it's so exciting to be on this call with Equality California and Seed the Vote. We need partners, we need allies, and we all need to knock on doors together. I'm going to share my screen right now and explain the path to victory. I'd ask whoever that is, please.
Mario, you just muted yourself. There you go.
Much obliged. Here we go. Okay. Look, what's Kamala's path to victory? She certainly has one. She's up, call it 3.2 points in the national polling average. I think it's important, despite the enthusiasm, the energy, and the new climate since Kamala became the nominee, to note a vigilant reality. As organizers, we talk a lot about agitation. And we should all be agitated by the fact that Kamala is well within the margin of error in the 7 key states that are going to decide this election. In some polling aggregates, she's still down in Nevada and Arizona, in particular. We should also note that, for what it's worth, both Biden and Hillary in 2016 were at this point, with respect to President Trump in the 2020 and 2016 cycles, at this point, 62 days before the election, they were up in the polling aggregate a whole lot more than Kamala's up right now. So this is all to say that, look, we're all on this call because we know that door-to-door canvassing, that doing more than we're currently doing is necessary to win. And what I'd say is that history shows that that's absolutely true. It's also worth noting that today the Senate is 51 Democrats and 49 Republicans. There are people on this call, including Seed the Vote, Equality, Unite Here, who helped make that a reality. Some of us went to Georgia the last cycle to help make sure that Raphael Warnock was that 51st Democratic seat in the 2022 runoff. The best case scenario for Democrats is a 50-50 Senate, however, in 2025. The reason for that is quite simple. Republicans are defending 11 seats. None of those are flippable. Democrats are defending 23 seats. One of them is Joe Manchin's in West Virginia. That's going to flip to the Republicans. What that means, quite simply, is that Democrats have to win in 22 of 22 races, including those very hard races in Montana and Ohio, states that Trump won by double digits or so, and Nevada, Arizona, and Pennsylvania, among other places. Worth noting that the House of Representatives is going to be extraordinarily important given the precarity of the Senate and the presidential race. Right now, Dems need to get 4 more seats than they currently have in order to flip control of the chamber to Democrats and Hakeem Jeffries. There are a number of those seats in both Nevada and Arizona. And so this is the overall map of what the hospitality workers are doing this year. The big orange states, Nevada and Arizona on your left, and Pennsylvania way over to the right, are where we're knocking on 1 million doors each. Those are the large independent expenditure programs. And we're also doing work with our members in those pink states of Georgia, Maryland, and Michigan. And there are important House races in New York and California where we're knocking doors. There's also some Ohio and North Carolina work, because the Senate in Ohio and that gubernatorial race and the presidential battleground of North Carolina is so important. Look, in conclusion, the rest of this call is us trying to recruit you to join us. And so with that, I will pass it on over.
Great.
We have some elected officials on the call with us.
Yeah.
I'll pass it over to
So
you,
we're
Cleve.
going to ask Mayor Parker to weigh in. Mayor Parker, thank you. I know you and Senator Wiener are both very busy. We appreciate you both joining us. You want to take it away, Mayor Parker?
Thanks. I'm glad to be with you, and shout out to my friends at Unite Here. Had support from Unite Here every time I ran, and really appreciate it. And I have knocked doors with Unite Here folks, and know how well they do that. I'm currently no longer the mayor of Houston, but now I run the LGBTQ Victory Fund, where we are working in all of these states to elect down ballot candidates. And we've seen this movie before. Somebody 8 years ago may not have known what Donald Trump was, but everybody in America knows what he is now and knows what we're facing. We don't have to go over that again. Anybody who thinks that he is going to change in any way is delusional. So let's make sure that we defeat him. What we do at Victory, and what I want people to think about as you're recruiting, is that Kamala Harris, she's going to run a kick-ass campaign. She's going to have coattails, but there's something else in politics that I've worked in a lot, and that's the pull-up effect or the push-up effect. Down ballot races can influence these elections just as much as who's at the top of the ticket. The energy and excitement's out there for Kamala, but people will get off the couch and go vote for their school board candidate or their state house candidate, who's their neighbor, the person they see in the grocery store, or the bank line, even if they feel that the national politics are outside of their realm. We have got to get people to talk about that. And Cleve talked about knocking on doors, and I'm going to be knocking on doors in a lot of these states. I'm probably going to be in Pennsylvania. Victory has Malcolm Kenyatta up there running statewide, and I know he'll be pulling people out of their houses up there. But there's something else we don't want to forget, and that is that you can help in these races even if you physically can't get out and get to those places. You can get on the phone. You can sit on your couch in your jammies in front of your telephone and dial in with one of the campaigns, and you can talk to battleground voters at your convenience and from your home. So there's multiple ways to do this. But again, I'm feeling like I'm preaching to the choir, because I don't want to tell you all the bad things that Trump will bring back. We all know that. I just want to tell you that there's a lot of organizations across the country who are working with Unite Here, with Equality California, Silver State. We're all out there doing the same work. We're working together. We're not working against each other. And we want to do it smart to make sure that we coordinate our activities so that we don't waste anybody's time and energy, and that we get the job done. We can't afford to lose this.
No, we can't. Thanks very much for joining us, Mayor Parker. Really appreciate it. I know that you and State Senator Wiener both have very busy schedules tonight. So Scott, take it away.
Thank you so much, Cleve, and thank you for organizing this. Thank you to EQCA, which we partner with every day in the state capitol in advancing civil rights and support for the LGBTQ community and in electing members of our community and allies to the legislature. And thank you to Unite Here. And I'm with you in your strike. These workers are not being treated the way they need to be treated, and so you have my full support. I don't want to repeat what's been said. This race is I've known Kamala Harris for 22 years. I'm so glad that the rest of the country finally gets to see truly who Kamala Harris is, which is an incredibly powerful, amazing energy and a strong leader. She's going to be fantastic as president. As Mario pointed out, we have a lot of work to do and can't take this for granted. And the stakes are so high. I feel like the woman in 2017 who was protesting, the older woman with the sign saying, "I can't believe I'm still having to do this." And I am old enough to remember the 1980s when our community was treated like a bag of dog shit, if I can just, curse a little bit, where there was a mass die-off of gay men in particular, and they just let us die. And we are back to the point where we have a major political party that wants us just to disappear, and not just gay men, trans people, everyone wants us to just disappear, and does not care about our lives, does not care about the lives of the 10 plus million immigrants who help make this country run, and does not care about the ability of women to make choices about their own lives and to determine their own lives. And I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but when we have so many people who are attracted to Donald Trump for whatever reason is, because they're disaffected, they're unhappy with how things are going in this country, and at times have very legitimate, grievances about some of the problems in this country. But it is our job to make sure that they understand that Donald Trump is not the solution to those problems, and that Donald Trump absolutely does not have the core values of a large majority of Americans in his heart. And so if we get the word out on that and get our people out to vote and motivate people to vote, we absolutely will win this election. So thank you so much to all of you.
Thank you, Scott. Before we turn it over to Emily and Seed the Vote, I just want to say that this call, it has to be a beginning of a really major recruitment effort, because I don't think that the LGBTQ plus community has quite come to grips with what is at stake. Now, Scott tried to act like he was old. I'm going to be 70 in a couple of weeks, and I remember the bad old days very, very well. And we have to understand all of these young people in our community who take PrEP so they don't have to worry about getting HIV/AIDS and dying. Well, who's going to pay for your PrEP after they overturn the Affordable Care Act, which they have promised to do? So whether we're looking at women's control of their bodies, access to health care, fundamental rights, marriage equality, they want to turn back the clock. So everyone on this call, when the call is over, you need to get on the phone and get online and recruit more people. And you're going to hear now from Emily and the people at Seed the Vote about how you plug those people in. So Emily, take it away.
Thanks so much, Cleve. Just want to appreciate everybody on this call tonight. I think that we're all clear. There's a lot at stake this year. We don't want to have any regrets come November 6th, whether we did enough or whether we could have done more. So on this call tonight, we're going to give you a very concrete way to plug in with Seed the Vote and to work with our amazing partners at Unite here in Nevada and Arizona. So I'm going to share my screen real quick. All right, so Seed the Vote, we started back in 2019, and our mission is to build political power by electing progressive legislators, winning Democratic control of the presidency, the House, the Senate, and making sure we block Trump and MAGA once and for all from getting into federal office. And we do this by training, funding, and deploying thousands of volunteers to door knock and phone bank alongside powerful grassroots partners and unions in battleground states. We are very focused this year on door knocking because that is, as Mario said, one of the, oops, my slide's not moving. Okay, we're very focused on door knocking this year. In 2020, we had over 9,000 volunteers who did something with us. Middle of the pandemic, a lot of people were phone banking, but we still had 1,200 people who came out to door knock in Arizona and Pennsylvania, and then in the Georgia Senate runoff race. And what we found through that was that the power of a face-to-face conversation, that is what actually moves people. That's what gets people off the couch. That's what gets people motivated to drag their entire family to go vote. And we saw that again and again when we were on the doors in Arizona, and we saw that a person, somebody coming from out of state, somebody who would talk to people, listen to them, make a human connection, actually care, right? See somebody for who they are. That human connection was what brought people to the polls, what made them feel like they actually, what they said and what they chose to do on election day actually mattered. And so this year, we're actually going to be focusing predominantly on door knocking. We're still going to have phone banks. You can still plug in that way, but there's so many great organizations doing text banking and postcards and phoning, and we don't have enough people actually knocking on doors. And so our focus this year is to turn out 3,000 plus volunteers to go door knock in a swing state. And if you want to know how to door knock and to do it well, you should definitely go with Unite Here. You're going to learn from Mario himself and from many folks on the doors what it really looks like to have a powerful, powerful conversation. So that's why we're focused on door knocking this year. And we're also focused on 2 of the major swing states you all are probably closest to. We are working with Unite Here in Reno, Nevada, and also with a couple other organizations in Phoenix, Arizona. Worker Power, which works with Unite Here Local 11 to run electoral programs, as well as Lucha in Phoenix. These are our amazing grassroots partners. And the reason we are partnering with groups is because we are very also clear that, you know, electing the next Democratic president, that's a political necessity, right? We don't have a choice. We need to do that. And we're also clear it's not the destination. We have a lot more work to do. We have a lot of organizing to do in our communities. And that's why we partner with power building groups like Unite Here, like Lucha and Worker Power, because we know that when election day is over, you want those organizations talking to people again all year round, right? Not packing up their office and going home. So we support the groups on the ground who are doing that work day in, day out. If you happen to want to go to a different swing state, we're also sending volunteers to Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. So if you're interested in those places, definitely hit us up, but definitely the ones closest to probably most of us here in California is Reno and Phoenix. So how does canvassing work with us? So See the Vote, we will place volunteers with these local organizations, like I mentioned, that are working year round on the front lines. The length of stay is up to you, but we really encourage people to canvass as long as you can, minimally from 2 days to even several weeks. Some people are actually canvassing for a month or even more. So we have people who are really taking time out from their work, from their families, because there's so much at stake this election. And we work with them to make sure that they can do that successfully. And for volunteers who need financial support, we will work with you to support your travel and your lodging. So flights, trains, hotels, gas reimbursements. Our goal is to make sure that anybody who wants to canvass, who can take that time off, you have the means to do it. We don't want financial reasons to be a barrier for anybody. And so we will work with volunteers to make sure you have what you need to be able to make that trip and to take that time. So how do you take action with us? You folks should, maybe one of my coworkers can drop the link in the chat as well. Folks can feel free to sign up at stvote.org/volunteer2024. And you can sign up, just let us know what you want to do. Do you want a door knock? Do you want a phone bank? Do you want to fundraise? Maybe you yourself can't door knock, you can't take that time off, but can you fund somebody else to go door knock, right? It costs us about $1,000 to send one canvasser to a swing state for 1 week. So if you can support someone else's trip, that's great. We need help fundraising. We need help for people who can donate. And for people who can come door knock, we provide a lot of training, a lot of support, and can help with the financial means for those who need it. And then like Mayor earlier said, was that the phone banks, you can do it straight from your living room. And we have those battleground phone banks happening right now. So if you want to sign up, you can go to our website as well. And again, it's funner when you do it together. So please bring your friends, bring your family, recruit your networks, and let us know how you want to take action this year and do something, right? So I'm going to stop there and see if there's any questions. I'll pass it back to you, Cleve.
Great. Was Gabi going to say anything?
Oh yeah, I'm so sorry, Gabi. Gabi, let me just stop sharing my screen. Gabi, I want to introduce our Canvas leader who is on the ground right now in Arizona. We're so excited. Gabi just landed there in the last week or so, and she is our Canvas lead who is actually coming from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, a community advocate and organizer who's been working for a long time advocating for young people in the system, and who now for the next 60-some days is going to be pounding the pavement, receiving volunteers, training them, and getting them out on the doors in Arizona. So Gabi, go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Emily. Hello, everyone. And like Emily said, I come from one swing state to another. This election is so important. I am the Canvas co-lead here in Arizona. I've been on the ground for about a week or so. We've had a couple of volunteer come out, and we have more volunteers coming out this weekend. So also, let me see. Sorry, I got my notes because I've been here for a week. I want to get all my facts straight here. Yeah, so Arizona is so critical to this election. And this is things that I learned just from being in the awesome trainings from our partner organization here, Worker Power, and Lucha. They both give very deep, very thorough training so that you can feel prepared. So I seen someone, I don't want to mispronounce your name, Manima, said that you were... I'm sorry, say it again.
Sorry, you said it perfectly. I just had to give you
Oh, perfect. Okay, thank you, good. You know, the trainings here are top notch. Like, you'll get everything you need, and you'll get constant training on the ground. Like, you're not left alone. Anything you're struggling with, we will make sure, the partner organizations will make sure, Unite Here, Lucha, Worker Power, everybody make sure that you are well prepared to be on these doors. It is not easy, you know, it is not easy. And these are like dangerous times for us. Like, we cannot afford to not win. And just to give you an example of something that I learned here, so Biden won by 14,000 votes, and 10,000 of those, well, 10,000 votes, and 14,000 of those votes, those critical votes, came from the partner organizations on the ground. Unite Here, Worker Power. They had a system to where, and I do not want to kill it, but in short, they had the residents on the ground take pictures, putting their ballot in, and also with their I voted stickers. You cannot deny the impact and the effect that being on the ground, volunteering, going out here day in and day out has on critical elections. So that is just one. Knocking matters so much. Knocking matters because we get, like Emily said earlier, like we get a hold to people, we get to talk to people, we get to hear their stories, we get to connect, we get to plant those seeds, and we get to make that impact to make sure people go out to vote. So the other key things here in Arizona that are crucial are the ballot, the propositions that are... Thank you, Emily. Thank you. That are crucial here for the residents here on the ground. There is propositions that will take away power from the citizens, so the legislature can keep power for themselves. This is straight from Worker Power sheets. Shout out to Worker Power. One would take away their right to vote on judges. Another would lower the minimum wage for hardworking servers and bartenders. And another one would make it harder to get citizen-backed initiatives on the ballot. So say, you know, we wouldn't have our rights. Like, you would have no rights to, you know, if something is, you know, it's not a democracy. Like, they're slowly taking away the democracies. So we've already, like I said, we've already taken out volunteers. We plan to have more coming out. They're already signed up for this weekend, and it only scales up as the GOTV ramps up. You know, so September, October, this is the strong push. This is where it matters. We've been talking to people on the ground. Like I said, I've only been here for a week. So, you know, some of the conversations, they're just, you know, a lot of people, Kamala has the support, you know, everybody wants to win. Everybody knows that we need this win. And then you have some people who are undecided, and you have some people who are concerned, who are very concerned. And one of the things that I can remember that sticks out to me to share with you all is a young person, you know, out of all the, you know, the adults that came to the door, a young person, he was 19, and he shared that what he's concerned about the most is foreign policy. You know, he's afraid of the war. He's worried about, you know, the state of, you know, our safety here in the country overall, like out of all the things, you know, that he could think about, that he could, you know, be worried about locally. So, that's it. I will pass it over to Cleve. Thank you all. And if you all are interested, again, you know, we also operate with Mobilize. So connect with Unite Here, connect with somebody on this call, and please, we are better together. We cannot do this without everyone.
Thank you. I don't know if Mayor John Erickson is still on the call or not, but I wanted to acknowledge we had the mayor of West Hollywood with us. We're going to take questions. I want everybody to learn everything they need to know, because this wasn't enough tonight. This is a beginning of yet another beginning. And we got to get out there, because the reality is that this election almost certainly will be decided by a handful of votes in a handful of precincts in a handful of states. So never, this is one of those moments where no one should doubt for even a nanosecond that they have the ability to make an impact on an incredibly historic, terrifyingly important election. So I know a lot of people want to get to their dinners, and I'm one of them, but any questions at all for this team?
Go ahead, Ruth. I see your hand up. Oh, or Minima, whoever is unmuted, go for it.
Hi, I'm Ruth. Just some basic questions, logistics. I just put my name in, I signed up, and let's say I want to start, I don't know, the week of the 16th and be there for, I don't know, a week or something. How do I do that?
Yep. So if you know what dates you want to go and you know where you want to go, so say you want to go to Reno, you want to go the 16th and you want to door knock for a weekend or a long weekend, we will send you a link to fill out. And I can actually, Katia, maybe you can drop it in the chat right now. There's a door knocking sign up form. You put in your information, you put in the dates you want to go, you put in whether you need financial assistance or not. And then we have you in our system. And if you need financial assistance, you will be asked to set up a phone call with somebody and we'll talk it through with you. If you have questions, you can also ask that, on the phone. And then we also recommend you read our door knocking guide that has kind of a comprehensive FAQ about all the places we send volunteers. So let's drop that one in the chat too. There's a door knocking guide if you have questions. And there's also an online Zoom session. We do those about 2 or 3 times a week where you can go and hear more about all the different states we're in and how volunteering works with us. So yeah, once you sign up that form, you're going to get information about where to show up. And then there's an online Zoom training, usually about a week, a couple days leading up before you actually hit the ground. So you're going to be given a lot of information, a lot of support, and a lot of training.
Thanks.
Thank you. And then I see Manima's hand, then Tom, and then Diane.
Okay, I can go next. Yeah, so I filled out the form that was in the chat earlier. So I just basically need to fill out the form that was recently shared by Katia. I don't pronounce names well, unlike Gabi there. So that I just basically fill out the form there, and that's more specific with when exactly I'm available to go. And then basically when would I expect to hear? Because my last day of work is on the 19th of September. So like I'm basically just trying to maximize the next week and a half to know what's coming after the 13th so I can start figuring out my finances and travel and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So basically, if you already know where you want to go and the dates, you should definitely just fill out our door knocking sign up form. If you're kind of not sure, you're like, I think I want to door knock, but I need more information or I want more details, or I think I want a phone bank. You can fill out the link I dropped in the beginning, which is it's like just a couple check boxes. But if you know, Minima, where you want to go, then like just send in that form. And then for people who are having trips coming up very soon, we'll expedite a call for you if you need financial support. Otherwise, if you're self-paying for yourself, you just need to know, well, where should I book the hotel? Where do I show up, on that day? All of that will be sent to you. And then you'll also have an online Zoom orientation before you actually hit the ground. Yeah.
Thank you, Emily. And just to clarify, I'm just getting the same form I already filled out when I click on that link. So I don't see a special door knocking form. I just checked make calls, door knock. So I just want to make sure.
Yeah, that's fine. You will get a follow-up for anybody who fills out that kind of really basic interest form. You'll get a follow-up with like more information. You're basically in our system now. So we have volunteers who will follow up with people who sign up. And then if I can get some of my coworkers in the chat to drop the door knocking sign up form, and that's for people. It's like, if you know where and when you want to go, fill out the door knocking sign up form, because that's specifically for people who want to go door knocking and have all their, basically, like there's the dates, you know where you want to go.
Awesome. Thank you.
Right. Thanks, Minima. And then Tom, go for it.
Sure. Well, I want to apologize for having been off camera most of the meeting. I am very under the weather, but wanted to see so many friendly faces that wanted to at least show my own a bit. So I had a couple questions. The first is, so I am here in the Bay Area in San Francisco. We have 4 LGBTQ democratic clubs, the Harvey Milk and Alice B. Toklas clubs in SF, Stonewall in the East Bay, Baymek in the South Bay. Like, that's a lot of potential queer political boots on the ground. And I hear the call of like, this is our start and we need to get it a lot bigger. And I would really like to engage those organizations in particular and trying to get some folks up to Reno, which I was in the weekend before last, which is why I'm under the weather, had a great time. But now it's time to come up there to work and not just have fun. So how would I go about coordinating with you all like a dedicated how do we figure out a canvas weekend where we can get all these LGBTQ folks and Dem clubs from the Bay Area to get up to Reno to carpool, to get a bus, whatever it's going to take? Like, what is the best way if we're trying to sort of do a little bit of a shock and awe, get folks to feel like they're a part of kind of a big trip up to Reno? What's the best way to coordinate something like that with all of you?
And I want to interrupt before you respond to that, Emily. I want to throw another part into this question. Tom, I think we really need to reach out to Manny, because Manny Yakutiel, who has Manny's Coffee Shop and a huge mailing list, his coffee shop has become a real hub for liberal progressive. Here's Manny on the call right now.
Hi, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. You dropped in at just the right moment. So I think what we really need to explore is how to make the most out of those LGBTQ Democratic clubs. And Manny has been trying to raise money to pay for buses every weekend and hotel rooms for volunteers. And so I asked Manny to be on the call because I think he needs to be plugged into this effort, and maybe he can spend a little less time trying to raise money to pay for buses and a little more time filling the buses and getting those folks there. So I think, Tom, you can be part of that conversation, and maybe after Emily has a chance to respond to this, but Manny has the ability, this guy right here, has the ability to reach and recruit a lot of folks from our community. And if he's being supported in that effort by the queer democratic clubs, I think it could really be a significant number of folks. Is it possible for Seed the Vote to help Manny figure out those transportation and lodging challenges?
Yes. All right. Yeah. Then I'm actually going to be speaking at Manny's with the Movement Voter Project, I think in a couple weeks. So excited to be down there soon. So to answer your question, Tom, we definitely partner with organizations across the country to basically do what you're asking. So we will come and help set up a way for you all to be recruiting people, sending them through Seed the Vote. We can give you guys a special recruitment link so that when people sign up, they come through whichever organization they were affiliated with. So we know like, oh, this person signed up through the Milk Club or Tokeless Club. And then people on the back end, you all can also see who are you recruiting and who signed up, right? So yeah, we can definitely come and do some outreach and presentations with you all. So I'll drop my email in the chat so we can talk more offline. But definitely if people know organizations that want to feed volunteers and feed people into the programs across the country, definitely we can work with you to kind of set that up as an organization. So that's one way to do it. And then I just want to mention, because people are talking a lot about buses, we actually don't need buses in Reno. We need cars. We need people to drive their own car or get a rental car, because the reality is you're going to be in Reno. You're not going to be in the middle of, downtown San Francisco. And we need cars to go out to the precincts and to go door knock. So definitely, we also help support people who can't afford it to do car rentals. So we can reimburse people for car rentals as well. So definitely we can talk through all these logistics, and happy to work too with Manny and figure out how we can get your kind of patrons and your audience plugged in to Seed the Vote, because we have figured out the logistics. And so you all don't have to worry about it, right? Like we have hotels that are booked in Reno. We have hotels booked in Phoenix for people who want to, just stay where we're staying. We have a block of rooms, and we are also going to help coordinate training volunteers and working with the local partners. So we're kind of here to help bridge that. So whatever way we can do to be helpful, and we're happy to come do presentations and get people signed up. It's a really great experience for people. And then also for folks who are going to Reno, come for multiple weekends. It's such a close drive, right? All right, I'll stop there and see if Diane, did you have a question?
Actually, I have a couple. So first of all, how do you decide whose door we're knocking on?
That's a great question for Mario.
Yeah, so we have a targeted mix of voters who, Nevada's become a purple state. Democrats haven't lost here since 2004, the Kerry election. And, you know, we've built up through, and in that time, Diane, you know, Nevada has had more than 1 million new people move here. So it's an extraordinarily rapidly changing place. To take Nevada, for example, the short answer, Diane, is it's targeted voters, largely Democrats and nonpartisans, almost no Republicans, except for those Republicans who, look, I mean, we've knocked on 1 million doors every cycle, Diane, and had, I don't know, 300,000 voter conversations in the midterms, in the 2020 race where we defeated Trump, in the 2016 race where we were the only battleground state where we beat Trump. And so we have a list of people who we've turned out to vote in the past. And we have, you know, we work with kind of the latest voter technology targeting information to cut another list of the new people who've moved here who are largely younger, largely people of color, not exclusively, most of them Democrats and nonpartisans, who we can get to win. That's the short answer.
Okay, second question. I actually have a place to stay in Arizona, but it's in Tucson. And I'm wondering if there's any, you know, any activity in the Tucson area.
There's definitely a Unite Here Worker Power office in Tucson. So that seems like a possibility, Diane.
Okay, and then in terms of timing, it probably works best for me to go like later October. Yeah, is Arizona's not a 100% mail ballot state like California, right?
It's not. I'd encourage everyone on the call to get to Nevada or Arizona as soon as possible. It's true, Diane, that both in Arizona and Nevada, we're going to win and lose the election before Halloween. Because early vote and vote by mail are the way that elections are won in those states by Democrats. Diane, I don't want to mince my words here. If you can only come at the very end, we want you. We need you. We need everyone on this call and beyond to come. But no, October is the time. If you could only come for one time. We want people there as soon as possible.
Those were a couple of very good
go for it.
questions. Any more questions? Who else has got their hand up?
Go for it, Shay.
Yeah, thank you so much. Wow, what a lot of great questions and so many just amazing people committed. I too have a place and on the border of Tahoe and Nevada where someone has given us their house to be able to host people. And do we just sign up? I just signed up too, and we just plug in and you'll send us all the information so we can pick a date. I see a lot of my friends are signed up and I'm with Tom here to get some more folks out. So is that all we need to do?
You know, I think this is a good time to emphasize an important piece of information that Emily shared with us, which is about needing transportation while we're there. And you know, the last time I went there, I mean, the precincts I got were very far away from where we were staying. So there's a lot of need for ground transportation there. So I think, Manny, we need to get together tomorrow on the phone with Tom and start brainstorming how to make the most of what you've been offering and what the clubs can do. But yeah, so like that house that you want to use, you've got to factor into that your transportation to get people to the precincts that they're walking and to the headquarters. I assume there's briefings before and after each day of canvassing. Is that still the way it works?
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. So actually, Mario,
Yeah,
why
I
don't you
honestly didn't even think of all that. You're so right. Everything's probably super far
it's
away from
it's
each
an issue.
other.
So Mario,
Yeah.
maybe just a quick thing on what does a day look like? What's the schedule? Do people meet at a central location, get their assignments and a pep talk, and then go out and then come back and debrief? How does it work?
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe channeling the spirit of like the video for those who were here at the beginning of the call. It's a structured and organized time. So the day always does begin with a check-in. It's also a time that's tailored to the amount of time you're going to be there. So like if you're going to go up to Reno, say, or going to go to Phoenix for a week or for a long weekend or for longer, right? You're going to get training because you have to get trained and you have to practice. Like the thing that, you know, is strange maybe about doing voter outreach, and the reason like I affirm and all the 30 little boxes on this Zoom. The thing that's different about door-to-door canvassing than say text banking or even having a phone conversation with someone where you're not face to face is practice, and practicing the words that you say in a group of other people is really the key to building confidence and doing it effectively. So you're going to practice the rap. You're going to share your own story. You're going to tell people, why you came all the way from Richmond, California, or the Mission District to Tucson, or whatever the case may be. And you're going to be paired up with someone else. The aspiration is always for you to get on doors on your own, but the idea is for you ultimately to be able to have face-to-face conversations on your own with another voter. But we pair people up, oftentimes a single precinct to split between two canvassers, where you'll have the even numbers of a street, say, and your partner will be on the other side knocking on the odd numbered doors. And the day begins and ends with check-ins and checkouts. The other thing worth saying is, there are dishwashers, housekeepers, cooks, members of the Unite Here union who have left their jobs. Some of them are from Las Vegas or Phoenix. Some of them left their job where their hotel's on strike right now, say in San Diego, and have been doing this work every day. And you will be doing this work alongside them. And these are people who have left their families and have decided to travel and or are taking time and getting paid maybe less than they'd be making with the tips that they make in the hotel, because they care about defeating Trump, because they care about transforming the world. And that will be a part of your day-to-day. And it's important to have that in mind, because it can be quite tiring to be outside in 120 degrees. But it's also—
And I'm going to interrupt because one
yeah,
of the—
go ahead. We're
the
coming up
chat
on
is
that.
from
Sure.
Ruth asking about people who may not be able to do a full day for various reasons. So what about folks who have physical challenges that make it difficult for them to put in a full 6 or 7 hours of schlepping around the suburbs of Reno Sparks?
Yeah, it's a great and challenging question. Part of the fact of doing the door-to-door canvassing is it does require a certain level of hardiness among us. That's just an inescapable fact. My father is 81 and I haven't been getting him out to, like, the last time I got him was in 2020. He couldn't do the midterms when he was 79. And that's just the reality. So he's doing his postcard thing. I think that it is not a hard and fast rule. We are happy to work with you. I think that we should all be, for the 28 of us still on the Zoom, be honest that if you're going to come in person and do the door-to-door door knocking, you do need to be able to think about whether you can knock on doors for 6 hours a day. We care about, heat exhaustion is a real thing. And it's something that takes time to build up on, and something that your coworkers are also paying attention to. So we take having ice water pretty seriously in our canvases. That's just a baseline thing that if you don't come from a desert state, maybe you're not especially familiar with, but you'll get familiar with it, and we'll take care of you in that way.
Great. Before we end this, Tom, you have something to say?
One more question, and I appreciate you, Cleve, acknowledging that we have John Erickson, who's the mayor of West Hollywood here. I don't know if it is the same Jason Lyon that is the first LGBTQ member of the Pasadena City Council that is joining us, but perhaps it is. And we also had Alton Wang, who's the LGBTQ president of the Pasadena Community College Board, who was on earlier. This is all to say, I know there's a lot of us who are here in Northern California, but we've got some LGBTQ folks in SoCal who obviously also want to get engaged. So looking at the map, it looks like the focus is Reno and then Arizona. For folks that are in Southern California, we're going to be where would they most likely be deployed? Because for sort of travel purposes, there's a bit of a difference between Clark County and Arizona. So just kind of wondering for those folks on the call who want to help and come from the southern part of the state, where they're most likely to be needed and deployed.
Yeah, so for folks from LA, we really recommend people going to Arizona, partly because we assume that Northern California, the Bay Area, is going to be definitely going in, big hordes on the weekends to Reno. And so we do want to encourage our LA folks, if you can, it's a very short flight to Arizona. I think it's like less than 2 hours. And if you can do the drive, even better, it's about 6 hours. So if you can do the drive and stay for like a week or maybe a long weekend, that's also really helpful. So I would just say, we think that, you know, the Bay Area is really going to pull through for Reno. They've already recruited the most number of volunteers so far out of all of our swing states. So I think we're in good shape there, and please send SoCal people to Arizona if possible. And then I see Katia, you were on Stack for a little bit, and I'm going to go back to you, Diane. Katia, if you're still there, feel free to jump on. Otherwise, you could come back. Oh, there you are. Okay.
Yes, hi.
And
Hi,
Katia's our, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry,
Well,
I was just going to say thank you for being on, Katia. She's also near our Canvas leader in Reno working with Unite Here. So thanks, Katia.
yeah, of course. I'm super happy to be here, and I'm super excited to get to see everybody that's so excited, and seeing the folks that in the chat, they were like, oh, we're gonna go to Reno. I'm like ready to go. We've been on the ground every single day, and we're super excited. We've gotten to meet some of the most beautiful individuals ever. Everybody that's coming has been so amazing to meet. And so just want to express that really quickly. If you want to participate here in Reno and you happen to know somebody that has mobility issues, or you yourself are thinking, you know, maybe I can't commit to a full day. You know, there are other ways that you can get plugged in if you want to do it on the ground and really connect with other people in your community who really care about doing what they need to do for their loved ones in this country, right? And so we have some opportunities for you to maybe help around with like simple things, like what we when we it's always good to have somebody to just be able to be, you can even be a Canvas team lead here, a volunteer Canvas team lead with Seed the Vote. Those are always helpful to have. You know, we have a long-term volunteer who's here that just recently arrived yesterday, with Unite Here and Seed the Vote, and she's been super amazing. And so we're going to be training individuals to be a volunteer Canvas team lead, where we will, you know, help you run a few teams. And so if mobility issues are something that is a concern, you know, maybe phone banking would be a better option. But if you still want to participate on the ground, talk to us, and we will see what you know, there are so many skill sets that individuals have, and we would be more than happy to hear how we can plug you in and incorporate you into this beautiful operation that we're doing alongside Unite Here. And it's been so amazing here in Reno, and I just wanted to inform everybody that everybody here has been so hardworking, so on top of it, and I cannot wait to meet you all when you do arrive here in Reno. I will be keeping a lookout, and you know, you'll see me there, you'll see the entire team, and I cannot wait for you to experience just the love that's in the room.
So we are now out of time, and I want to thank everybody who took the time to be part of this call, which is just the beginning. And Tom Temprano and Manny, we got to put our heads together tomorrow and figure out how we can best support this effort in a way that logistically makes sense. But I want to challenge each of you personally to find three more people in the next week that we can plug into this effort. I don't need to tell you how much it matters. I got confidence that we can do that and really have a solid contribution from our community. And that's it. We got to go now. Thank you all very much for your time and your attention and your commitment. Thank you all.
Hey, Cleve. Oh, can we stop the music for a second, Shay? Sorry, I was just going to say, for folks who still have questions, I'm happy to stay on the call. I see Diane, and there was another person who had a question.
So when does the training happen that you're talking about? I mean, if like you came for a long weekend, does it happen there, or does it happen before you get there?
Yeah, we do both. There's Zoom trainings, usually a week before, leading up to the time you get to your swing state. So there'll be a Zoom orientation where you hear more about, oh, this is what the script's going to be, right? Because we're not just talking about top of the ticket. We're actually going to talk about what are the other important down ballot races in the script. So you'll hear a little bit more about the local issues. You might hear more about just what to expect in terms of the weather and how to prepare. And then when you actually arrive to your swing state, whether it's Reno or Arizona, you will actually do an in-person training as well, where you'll be going over, you know, kind of more the logistical on the ground issues. And you will also get training on how to use the voter contact app on your phone called, usually I think everywhere it's Minivan. So it's an app you can download on your smartphone. That's how we can mark who we're talking to and how you're going to get your list of voters and who you're going to talk to. So you'll get a training about how to also do that.
And so does that like happen the morning of or the night before? Or?
The minivan training on your phone, I think they get people set up the week before on that Zoom training I talked about. And then if you need help on the day of, there will also be opportunities for someone to help you troubleshoot or to explain how it works. Yeah.
And then, but the training that happens once you get to the swing state, does that
Yes,
on the,
there's 2 trainings. There's one before you get to the swing state, and then there's one when you arrive on the ground your very first day. Everybody has an orientation.
okay, so it's that the day you sign up for.
Yes, your very first canvassing shift, there will be an orientation in person.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. I think we maybe lost somebody else who had a question, but does anybody else here have any questions? Otherwise, I'm happy to let folks jump off.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks everybody. Thank you, Shay. Thanks, Gabi. Thank you, Katia, Kati.
It's that bitch o'clock, yeah, it's thick 30. I've been through a lot, but I'm still flirty. Is everybody back up in the building? It's been a minute, tell me how you're healing. Cause I'm about to get into my feelings.
Awesome. Yay. Good job, everyone.
Hey, thank you, Shay.
Of course. Of course.